Hard habit to shift. Back to the census. Okay, question 1. Name.
Miles Hugo St. John Dwayne Jupp.
Dwayne.
Mother lost a bet.
Age?
71.
Really?
I moisturise.
Okay. What state do you live in?
One of permanent apathy.
No. No, what state? You know, Kansas, Florida?
No, we don't have states here in the UK. We have counties.
Interesting. Now, how many children under the age of 18 reside with you?
None.
And how many members of Al-Qaeda?
None.
And how many X-35 fighter jets are you thinking of ordering from us?
Before the end of this tax year, probably 3.
Excellent. Dwayne, thank you.
Thank you.
The Jack app.
Please leave your message after the tone.
You have to feel for the Egyptians. As soon as they get rid of one wealthy leader that ignored the public and was only interested in aiding big business, David Cameron turns up.
I see Cornish pasties have been given protected status by Brussels. What I want to know is, does this apply to Brussels sprouts? And isn't that a conflict of interest?
Peter Mandelson was brave to share a waltz with Anne Widdecombe. He may have sold the country the Iraq War, but he's never had to spin anything that big before.
Soldiers killing Libyans. Thank God I'm a Pisces.
That'll be £48, please.
There you go.
Thank you, and here's your receipt.
Thanks. Excuse me, it says on this receipt that you've charged me 20% VAT.
Yes, that's right.
But I work for Barclays.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Why didn't you say? That'll be £41.20.
Oh, that's better.
Time is like Lindsay Lohan. Precious, but often wasted. To bring us in line with Europe, the government are planning to steal an hour of our lives by putting the clocks forward 2 hours instead of the usual 1. I think putting the clocks forward at all is pretty dangerous, but then I do have an especially narrow mantelpiece. Joining us for this week's 60-second interview is one of the architects of the scheme from the government's Department of the Time-Space Continuum, Angela Tickings.
Good evening, Miles.
Your 60 seconds starts now.
60-second interview.
Miss Tickings, why on earth are you bringing the clocks forward by now?
Well, Miles, partly it's in order to achieve parity with Europe, partly it's to get more hours of sunlight, but mainly it's because we can. And on that note, I should announce that we have another time-related policy.
Which is?
We're bringing the clocks forward by a further 15 seconds, starting now.
But we won't have time for the interview. It's pointlessly restrictive as it is.
Nonsense, Miles. You'll just have to learn to speak at government double speed. You see lighter summer evenings, which will attract more visitors to the UK and raise an estimated £3.5 billion a year. This will give a much-needed boost to the UK economy and...
But what gives you the right to move time around when we've managed to get...
Oh, sorry, Miles. Look, I've been informed that the 15-second shift has been revised and they are now increasing it by another 15 seconds. There are now 5 seconds left before we crash headlong into the future like Richard Hammond trying to get away from an irate Mexican.
Hang on, you can't just keep speeding up time every time you want to get out of answering a question and slowing it down when you want to sell your mad scheme.
Yes, I can. 3 seconds left.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can, 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 I can. Time up!
Miss Tickings, thank you very much.
Thank you, Miles. You can steal an hour with me anytime.
The government are currently debating whether to change the system of voting from first past the post to AV. Well, I'm definitely voting no in the AV referendum, with yes as my second preference.
At 5 down one place, it's a Conservative Party with Under My Thumb. At 4, it's the Independent candidate with I Think We're Alone Now. At 3, up 2 places, it's the British National Party with Leave Right Now. At 2, it's a re-entry for the Labour Party with Hate to Say I Told You So. And what would be this election's number 1, but due to second votes, is actually going straight in at number 37. It's the Liberal Democrats with Bend Me, Shake Me, Any Way You Want Me. Which leaves this week's actual number 1, the latest and final single by Nick Clegg.
So Caroline Spellman has abandoned her plans to sell off Britain's forests. Bad news for me, I was hoping to pick up a sycamore as a buy-to-let and rent it out to a young squirrel couple. Provided, of course, they could provide decent references. To explain the government's abrupt U-turn, we have DEFRA spokesperson Alex No. Alex, hello.
That's good to be here, Miles. Hello.
But is it, though? I mean, you're here to defend a spectacular U-turn on a disastrous policy.
You know, you're absolutely right, Miles. I would like to fully retract that last statement. But nevertheless, I am here to put the case for the government.
Really? After this policy was launched, weakly defended, and then fell at the first whiff of scrutiny or debate, you think you can stand here and defend the government's actions?
A fair point again, Miles, and on further consideration I now realise I have no hope whatsoever of defending the government's actions. But I would like to point out the dignity with which I have stood up here today and admitted to my mistake.
It's hardly dignified. You've just come up here and crumbled at the first sign of opposition.
Yes, you're absolutely correct, Miles. I've behaved pathetically, that's right, yes. And I think you'll agree that to behave quite this pathetically needs real courage and commitment. Qualities this government has in abundance and will help us to successfully fail time and time again over the years to come.
So you've chosen to come on here and not actually say anything useful?
No, Miles, that's not correct.
Are you sure?
Yes, Miles. Sorry, you were right the first time.
So was there any point in you coming?
Yes, there was. No, there wasn't.
Alex, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miles. Actually, on second thoughts, I take that back.
This week, actress Maxine Peake has highlighted the issue of snobbery towards working-class women in film, which has resulted in a limited number of roles being available to them, especially in Hollywood, where they prefer a starlet with a cut-glass English accent. Seriously, Tim Burton can't even come near me without proposing marriage. But English filmmakers are keen to redress the balance in a reworking of the classic My Fair Lady.
In the sleepy English town of York Bottom Tyne Wearside, Professor Henry Higgins is about to take on his biggest challenge yet.
Hello, I'm Eliza Doolot's Firth. Are you Professor Higgins, former language professor of Stafford Polytechnic?
That's I am, Flower. What can I do for thee?
It's a film role, you see. I simply must learn to speak, how does one say it, Northern?
This summer, Keira Knightley is My Fair Lass.
Tut rain in tut Spain, stays mainly on tut plain.
Two-time BAFTA Award winner for Northern Grimness, Sean Bean, is Henry Higgins.
As sure as that Ovis advert were filmed in Yorkshire, not Dorset. I'll have that bird talking like Ina Sharples by end of week.
Thou's got no chance.
A film about one man, one woman, and a scene with some racing pigeons.
Come along, number 5. Pip, pip, move your posterior.
Oh, chuff that rider knickers. I'm off for a pint of stout. Don't care if it makes me ruddy stews black.
The feel-good movie of 2011 is My Fair Lass. Common isn't as common does.
The Jack app.
Please leave your message after the tone.
So now we're being told that we should eat less red meat for the good of our health. Well, I always buy mine from the reduced to clear shelf, and it's got more sort of greeny blue grey, so I'll be fine.
When I heard how little tax Barclays paid last year, I was really angry. I've been getting my advice from Lloyd's.
I admire the Australian town that changed its name to Speed Kills. Can I suggest Bournemouth rename itself Doing the Speed Limit Won't Hurt?
I was surprised to see the world's hottest chili in Grantham. Who would have thought something that can cause that much pain and distress would come from the same place as Margaret Thatcher?
Hey, mate, do you want to buy this laptop? It, fell off the back of a lorry. No need to look in the box, it's all there, it's yours for £50.
A laptop? Brian's alive!
Keep the noise down, the police will hear.
Keep the noise down? Have you not read my CV?
This week, Yale University signed an agreement with Peru to return thousands of Inca artefacts. The event has sent cultural shockwaves throughout the world, extending even to Britain, where the following exchange took place at the Peruvian embassy in London.
You know what we want, senora?
Of course, Mr. Ambassador, it's just...
I understand. He's adorable, but he belongs to us.
You see, we do love Paddington Bear.
Pastuso.
Yes, si, Pastuso, Paddington. Well, he's been in Britain for so long, he's really become one of us.
Of course, but...
But you asked us to please look after this bear.
We did not. That was Aunt Lucy. And she currently holds no official position in government.
Please, look, we've even named a station after him.
Waterloo? I'm so sorry, senora, but it is a fait accompli, or whatever the Spanish is for that. You see... Paddington, Pastuso, he stowed away.
What?
Yes. Don't you remember the first book? Paddington Bear stowed away. Therefore, he is...
Oh, my God. He's an illegal immigrant.
See?
Well, in that case, it's all yours.
This week, the Meaningful Chocolate Company announced that they would be launching an Easter egg that featured the real Easter story on the box. I think that's the one where Nigel Pargeter comes back from the dead to save the souls of the Archers production team. We at Newsjack are all for the fight against secularism, and to prove it, we're pleased to announce the new range of religious confectionery treats in the Newsjack shop.
Thanks, Miles. First up for the Christians, Catholicorish also. Or the Holy Sacrament. For fans of the Eastern religions, we have Haribo Krishna.
Oh, my favourite.
Gandhi Floss. And, of course, our Muslim fair trade chocolates. Definitely not for profit.
No. But hang on, I'm Jewish. Surely there's something I can buy.
Well, if you're looking for something to help you work, rest and play, may we suggest the Mars Bar Mitzvah?
Oh, great.
And, of course, for those with the more science fiction tooth, there's our delicious Scientology L. Ron Hubba Bubba gum, which is better than normal gum because it's exceedingly hard to swallow. Making a mistake is like defecating in Parliament Square. Once or twice is probably fine, but do it too often, you'll start getting a reputation. With that in mind, here are some corrections.
Last week, Newsjack reported that a quarter of Britons would be killed by booze. This was a report on alcoholism and not the judging system on Britain's Got Talent.
Last week, we announced that Aaron Porter, the head of the NUS, was standing down because of criticisms that he didn't stand up against tuition fees. We realise now that was wrong. It was because he didn't want to miss Rastamouse.
In last week's episode, we told you the new Nick Clegg replica doll was available to buy via the Newsjack website. As it turns out, it has in fact completely sold out.
Newsjack starred Miles Jupp, Margaret Cabourn-Smith, Lewis MacLeod and Kerry Howard. For a full list of writers, go to bbc.co.uk/programmes/Newsjack. The producer was Katie Terrell.
Oh, wasn't that great? One of our favourite archive editions of Newsjack from February 2011, and tonight enjoying its 500th broadcast here on Radio Dave as part of our annual Stephen Fry Free evening. This was, of course, the week that saw the first ever Academy Awards ceremony where all the winners were decided by the AV voting system. This led to the shocking turn of events which saw every category at that year's Oscars won by Romeo and Juliet. Next on Radio Dave, Muammar Gaddafi reads from his autobiography, They'll Never Discover the Colonel's Secret Recipe.
Well, fun lovers, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Newsjack from BBC Radio 7. For the full range of other BBC podcasts, visit www.bbc.co.uk/podcasts.